Welcome all to another episode of your favorite podcast. I'm Redbeard. This handsome devil joining me is Targo. Welcome
That would
back.
be me.
Welcome back. Welcome back, my friend. How was your cruise?
It was very nice, relaxing, a little chilly. It was up in Alaska, so
That is chilly. Well, not literally, but anyways. Episode 69, so very nice.
very nice.
Make sure to check out our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, our YouTube channel. Check out our Redbubble. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Make sure you give us 5 stars on all your favorite social media platforms. It really helps us get out into the algorithm so we get to more people. We really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you very much. And
Thank
with
you.
that, episode 69, Champions League Match Day 1 recap, Match Day 6 review in the English Premier League, our Fab 5 games to watch, and you get to find out who won the last 2 weeks of our predictions. All right. With that, let's get kicking. You ready? Let's get into this. A few pieces of news first. Barcelona's financial woes have continued as La Liga slashed their spending cap by almost 400 million euros for the new season, dropping them from 649 million to 270 million. Real Madrid once again have the highest limit in La Liga for the 23-24 campaign at 727 million. Atletico's is slightly higher than Barca's at 296 million. That is a ginormous gap.
Interesting, Atletico's is higher than Barca's.
I assume it's because of all their financial troubles.
Yeah.
Not many outgoings, a lot of incomings. So, and probably what is the greatest unveiling of a contract extension? Kyle Walker has signed a 2-year deal at Manchester City that will keep him there until 2026. And they hit him with the Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not fucking leaving.
Yeah, I did see that.
It was great.
Going
Arsenal,
nowhere.
I'm not going anywhere. Arsenal's chief executive, Vinay Venkatesham. I probably should have said that faster because it sounded awkward. He'll leave the club next summer. He's been with Arsenal for 14 years in different roles, and he's done a fantastic job. So, thank you, Vinay. You have put Arsenal back on the right track. I'm interested to see who replaces him.
Same.
Julian Draxler has left PSG for Qatar's Al Ahly on a free transfer.
Man, what a player he used to be.
I know. And he kind of went to PSG and then disappeared. Took a poop.
Just took a fat dump, man.
Yep. Nice, big, fat one. Julian Nagelsmann has been hired as the new boss of Germany's national team. Their men's national team. Kind of
My
was
surprise
inevitable.
face.
Yeah, this is my surprise face. Pretty inevitable. Some injury news. We got some bad news for Brentford. Rico Henry suffered a season-ending knee injury in training.
That sucks.
And then to continue the never-ending knee injuries, Tottenham's Ivan Perisic tore his ACL in training. He will also be out the rest of the season. Bernardo Silva facing lengthy time out after coming off injured against Red Star Belgrade. And Frankie de Jong was set to be out over a month with an ankle injury, which might keep him out of El Clasico, which is October 28th. And then our last piece of news. Tottenham have signed 16-year-old defender Luka Vuskovic from Hajduk Split for $12.5 million. He'll stay there on loan until he's 18.
Is that a lot for a 16-year-old?
It is the highest ever. So, yes, it is a lot for a 16-year-old. All right, Targo, for what we've all been waiting for, the Champions League.
What are you drinking? Back. That's what we're waiting for, man.
No, the Champions League. But yes.
Oh, okay, that too, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I'll go first. I have from Hopworks Brewing. It is Great gourds of fire, pumpkin ale with ancho chilies and spices.
That's like a spicy looking pumpkin.
It's a pumpkin with its mouth open where the name is and then flames behind it. Yeah, pretty awesome.
Well, how is it, man? Let us know.
It smells very pumpkin-y, so that might not be a good thing.
Your pumpkin spice beer?
Well, it's that time of year. I'm going to say it's very subtle pumpkin, even though it smells like it. It's more cinnamon forward, and it's got an odd aftertaste. Like more pumpkin. No ancho chilies. I'm going to take another sip just in case.
Just in case. Sometimes it takes 2 sips.
Okay, ancho chilies are a little in the front, but that's it. It's very subtle, not really spicy.
More pumpkin than the chilies?
Yeah, a lot more cinnamon than pumpkin. So if I heated this up, one would taste terrible, but 2 might taste more like a cider. 6 out of 10. Meh.
Would you buy it again?
No, I wouldn't. And I have 3 more of them. So
have fun with those, buddy.
Yeah. How about you, buddy? What are you drinking today?
I'm going with a mixed drink today. I mixed up some BSB brown sugar bourbon and some root beer.
That time of the year, man.
It is. Shout out to my buddy Evan for introducing that to me.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. It's a little sweet for me, for my bourbon.
I like sweeter stuff, so
I know you do. So
I'm the sweet, you're the salty.
Root beer, yeah. I'm not salty this week. Okay,
it's more like I'm the sweet, you're the spicy.
Spicy and sour, yeah. But it's the red hair, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you all were waiting for?
Now they've been waiting.
Champions League. We had match day 1. It did not disappoint whatsoever. Well, a couple of teams did, but the Champions League itself did not disappoint. So, on the 19th of September, we had Group E action. Lazio and Atletico Madrid. Man, this one ended 1-1, but
I gotta say,
Go ahead.
This game probably had my favorite moment for match week 1.
Yes, I think it's everybody's favorite moment.
It was amazing. So
in a match pretty much dominated by Atletico Madrid. Up 1-0. It's the 94th minute. Lazio's goalkeeper, Ivan Pravda, came up the field and scored the tying goal at the death to cancel out Pablo Barrios' opener, which was in the 29th minute, becoming only the second goalkeeper in Champions League history to score in a group stage match. But wait, it gets more fun.
The coincidences.
Pravda was born in 1994. He stands at 1.94 meters tall, wears the number 94, scored Lazio's 94th Champions League goal in the 94th minute. I wish I could make it up.
The 94th goal part is what I think the one that gets me.
Right? I mean, even that he scored in the 94th minute wearing number 94 is already coincidence enough.
Yeah.
But all of those, it's crazy. We both picked Atletico to win. Obviously, they did not. Okay.
Because of the 94th minute.
Yeah, I will take that loss. All right, next we had Feyenoord and Celtic. This one ended 2-0 as mayhem in Rotterdam as Celtic had 2 players sent off, save a penalty, and that all happened in between 2 Feyenoord goals.
Spicy game, yeah.
Spicy. You picked Celtic. I picked Feyenoord.
I did.
Yeah, I don't know what you got against them, man. That's 2 games you picked against them in this episode.
Yeah, okay. I know. They burned me on both of them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they did. And then other things burned, but we'll get to that later.
And then the field burned.
The group of death. Let's talk about AC Milan and Newcastle first. This one was a tale of 2 halves as Newcastle withstood a barrage of attacks by the Rossoneri to somehow come out of Milan with a 0-0 draw.
Somehow. Milan should have scored in that first half. And then Rafael Leao, man, he was like impressed in the first half and then just disappeared in the second.
It was almost like he was embarrassed. It's almost like he was embarrassed after dribbling through the entire Newcastle defense and then going to backheel it and
whiff.
And
the worst whiff. How does he do the hard part and just completely miss the ball? That was hilarious.
I'm like, why did you even try to backheel it? You had the whole half of the goal right there. Just put it in the
he could have
net.
taken the shot like 2 guys before that he beat.
I don't know.
At that point, I don't know, man.
Milan had 25 shots in this one. Only 9 of those were on target. Newcastle had 6 shots with 1 on target. So kind of Nick Pope was fantastic in this one.
He did have some nice saves, yeah.
You picked Milan. I picked a draw.
You saw it coming, didn't you?
I don't know. It's like I got ESPN or something. Next up, we had PSG and Dortmund. I'm surprised you let that joke go.
ESP, not ESPN, yeah.
Yeah, quoting Mean Girls in an episode.
I
PSG and Dortmund.
Mean Girls, yeah.
Yeah. This one,
I think it's rainy now.
Yeah. PSG swept aside a poor Dortmund side. And Paris enjoying 68% possession, winning 2-0. Of the 31 shots in this game, there were only 4 total on target. So
I watched this game. So I watched it on the cruise up until the 60th minute when they lost reception and then just never got it back. But I did see the 2 goals, that PK and the other goal.
Well, I'll be honest with you, you really didn't miss much after that.
I kind of figured. I was wondering, like, ooh, did Dortmund actually get back, or did this game finish how it looked like it was going to finish? And it looked like how, it was going to finish. PSG steamrolling.
PSG steamrolled them. They look like they're just going to be a side that just tries to outscore everybody. They don't really care about defending. When they find a team that's got a strong defense or counterattack, they might be in trouble. But Dortmund, to start the season, very poor. So they didn't really have to worry about much. Both picked PSG. So that was good. Okay, Group G action. We had Young Boys against RB Leipzig. This one finished 3-1 for Leipzig after a slow first half. They dominated the home side in the second half. We both picked Leipzig.
We called it.
Yep. All right. Manchester City and Red Star Belgrade. I thought this was going to be an absolute blowout. And it probably should have been.
Started out interesting, didn't it?
But it did. Yeah, after being shocked by Red Star scoring on their first and only shot of the first half, Citizens regained their composure to coast to victory on a Julian Alvarez brace. They did have 37 shots and 16 on target, so it wasn't for lack of trying. We both picked City in that one. City. All right, Group H, we had Shakhtar and Porto. 4 first-half goals. Ended 3-1 for Porto. Both teams exchanged 3 goals in 8 minutes. The rest was all Porto. Picked Porto.
Called it.
Barcelona, Antwerp. I don't really have to say anything because it's 5-star. Barcelona wiped the floor with Antwerp in their first Champions League match. We both picked Barcelona.
We called that one as well.
Yeah. But Barcelona looked much better and much more improved in Europe this season, I will say. They did
Couldn't get much worse than last season.
That is very true, especially when you lose to Manchester United and you see how they're doing now. Speaking of Manchester United, on the 20th in Group A, we had Bayern Munich against Manchester United, which in what might have been the closest blowout that I've ever seen as it ends.
I don't know if I would call that. Man United started the game well.
Yeah, to me, it looked like men against boys for the majority of that game. Manchester United did start out well. Bayern scored, and then it was pretty much smooth sailing from there with poor defending in the middle. But shall we start with how bad Andre Onana has been?
Not good.
In the 28th minute, Leroy Sané's shot went right through his hands.
Yeah,
to give Bayern the lead.
Should have saved that one.
He should have. I probably could have saved that.
I think he just would have had to stay still, let it hit his face.
Yeah. I mean, he could have just kept his hands closed instead of trying to do this. The Bavarians made it 2-0 just 4 minutes later. Serge Gnabry finishing off a fantastic run from Jamal Musiala.
How good did he look? Oh, Jamal Musiala, man.
And just to think, he's still, what, 21?
20? Like yeah, something like 20? That.
Like, him and Jude Bellingham are going to tear up the world from here on out, pretty much. While you look that up.
Yeah, I got
United came flying out of the after half, they came flying. Rasmus Højlund getting his first ever goal for the Red Devils after some wonderful team play in the 49th minute. And then 3 minutes later, VAR judged Christian Eriksen had handled the ball in the box. Harry Kane made no mistake.
I thought that was a rough call, man.
There's a couple of those this week.
Because it hits off of it was his thigh, his knee, somewhere on his leg, and then it bounces
his hand
up.
Is kind of out like this.
And it hits his hand. Yeah, that's harsh.
It is harsh, but we need to start seeing more black and white with the handball.
I mean, in the Champions League, you kind of know if it hits that hand, it's going to be a
9
PK.
times out of 10. Yeah. Casemiro made it 2 for United through a scrappy finish after some lovely team play by the Mancunians. Yeah, pretty much scored laying on the ground.
Yeah, dude, motherfucker scored just laying down. Ball popped to him and he kicked it while he was laying on his side, posing.
Right in the bottom corner. Yeah.
I know.
Shit.
What a finish. Like, I was just was he laying down?
Yeah. And it pretty much sums up United's day because a few moments later, Bayern restored their 2-goal cushion for the third time through 18-year-old Matthias Tell. The wonderful finish.
That was a good finish. Good dribbling, yeah.
Yeah. And then
another exciting youngster.
Oh, man. Every time he's on the field, he seems to score.
He had a couple struggles there.
When he comes on.
Yeah, that game he started before Harry Kane showed up, he had some chances that he should have finished and didn't.
Casemiro would get his brace and a consolation goal for United in extra time, but it was pretty much over by then. Just want to say some stats about Andre Onana. He 10 of his first 17 shots, 10 of his last 17 shots coming up into this game, including this game, have all gone in. And I just want to remind everybody that David De Gea won the Golden Glove last season. Drop the mic, walk away.
Maybe you could have saved that Onana and Højlund money for Harry Kane?
And maybe re-signed De Gea? Just saying. Maybe this one would have ended 3-3.
There you go.
Or 4-3 the other direction. Because we picked
2-2.
Bayern, and Bayern won. So,
yeah.
Speaking of 2-2, we had Galatasaray and FC Copenhagen. This one ended 2-2. But it might have been one of the most entertaining of the early matches on the 20th.
So I gotta tell you, this one was also on the cruise. And I was watching thinking, oh man, they picked this game to show at the beginning. And then I was like, wait, this is a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Glad
I
they
was
picked
very
it.
surprised. Yeah. Galatasaray coming from 2 back with the last 5 minutes to draw against 10-man Copenhagen in Turkey. Mohamed El-Noussi scored the opening goal in the first half. You remember him?
Yeah, Southampton days.
Yeah. He's got to be getting up there in age. Mid-30s or something.
I don't think he's that old.
It seems like he's been around forever. Diogo Goncalves got the second for FC Copenhagen in the 58th before Elias Julert was sent off, and Sasha Bowie got one back for the home side in the 86th, and then Tete got them level in the 88th minute.
So yeah, a couple comments. First, El-Noussi is 29. Okay. So you were off there.
Seems like he's been around forever. So,
but that red card. So he got the first yellow. I think it was the first yellow card he got for one of those new rules, the time delaying or something like that. Harsh. And then he bad tackle, got a second yellow. But then those 2 strikes from Galatasaray, man, fantastic. Peaches, yes, absolute peaches.
Yeah.
Peaches. That's what they were.
Peaches. We both picked Galatasaray to win this game. They probably should have. Props.
Interesting. Wilfried Zaha did not start that game.
Yeah,
came off the bench.
Surprised. Yeah. Maybe he's getting back into full fitness. I don't know. No idea. Then we go to Group B. We start with Sevilla and Law. Sevilla took the lead off Luis Ocampo's header in the 9th minute, and then the tying goal from Law was a golazo from Angelo Fulgini. Free kick right into the top corner. 24th minute. You picked to draw this one. You knew something that I did not. I picked Sevilla, and they did not deserve to win this game.
I told you they have not been playing well.
On to our boys. These guys here. Arsenal against PSV in their triumphant return to the Champions League after 6 years. They only waited 2,388 days, and they made a statement of intent in this match, winning 5-0. They only had to wait 8 minutes to get it.
4-0.
4-0. Should have been 5, whatever. Bukayo Saka getting his very first Champions League goal in the 8th minute. And then on the stroke of 20 minutes, in the blink of an eye, Arsenal go from one end to the other. Gabriel Jesus broke, led Saka down the line, who hit in a cross, and one of the coolest finishes, Leandro Trossard doubles Arsenal's lead.
I did not think he was going to score that, if I'm being honest, the way that counterattack was developing.
That's so sweet. Holy cow.
I did not expect him to hit it that well, but he did.
Curled it right into the bottom corner. Didn't even stand a chance.
Yeah, it was a beautiful, beautiful finish. Lovely counterattack by Arsenal.
And then they made it 3 in the 38th minute as Trossard broke behind PSV's defense, played a wonderful peach of a ball to Gabriel Jesus, scoring his first goal of the season with a deft touch, and then just pile drove it right into that.
He did. It was like a trap shoot.
Yeah. It's his first goal since May, believe it or not.
I do believe the way he finishes sometimes.
We'll get into that later.
Okay.
Yeah. Martin Odegaard got the 4th from distance after a wonderful one. Wow. Wonderful run by none other than Kai Havertz. I got to give credit.
He did something.
He's been terrible, and he was pretty good in this game. And then, side note, because the person who he fed it to, Emile Smith-Rowe. What a reception when he came onto the field. Holy cow. That was awesome to see. And then Reece Nelson fed Odegaard, who pretty much faked the shot, took a touch, hit it in from 25 out. Come on, you guys.
Low driver, yeah.
Yeah. He's become quite a finisher.
He has.
Left and right. We both picked Arsenal. Duh. All right. Group C, in one of the most intriguing matchups of the matchday 1, we had Real Madrid against Champions League newcomers Union Berlin. Real Madrid dominated possession in the first half, creating the best of the chances, but Union Berlin definitely had their chances too. Union Berlin came out on the front foot in the second half, creating a more open game, which favored Madrid, allowing them to catch Union with men forward. They went inches away from scoring numerous times if it wasn't for stellar goalkeeping from Ranau. And then with just 90 seconds left. Yeah, a couple times.
I'm pretty sure Jolisu hit the post twice in this game. Poor guy couldn't buy a goal.
With just 90 seconds left in the game, Valverde received the ball from a corner, saw the shot deflected, and guess who it fell to? None other than Mr. Inevitable himself. Yes. Hey, Jude, with another winner for the Madridistas. We both picked Real Madrid to win. The other game in Group C? Braga against Napoli. Napoli, honestly, they've not been in great form this season. Kind of odd.
They don't look as good as last year, huh?
The light years away from that. They took the lead late in the first half through Giovanni Di Lorenzo. Braga leveled the match with a lovely ball from Rodrigo Salazar. Found the head of Bruma in the 88th minute, and then Napoli would get a winner at the death through an unfortunate own goal from Siku Nyakate. Braga would hit the post with 4 seconds left in extra time, which I thought was a leveler. Unfortunately for them, it was not. We both took Napoli, and we got away with one.
Yes, we did.
All right, Group D. There's going to be a lot of me talking today. Benfica and RB Salzburg. 2 penalties given to Salzburg in the first half. They missed the first one, scored the second. Take the lead as they shock Benfica to top the group after match day 1. And they doubled their lead after some nice pressing, forced a turnover high up the field. 19-year-old Israeli forward Oscar Gulak scored his first Champions League goal. Good moment.
I told you not to sleep on Salzburg, man.
Yeah, I did it. I mean, I did. Sorry. I did not expect them to win this game.
I said a draw, but they wouldn't got a win. Yeah. Fantastic result for Salzburg.
And I'll be honest, even in Portugal, in Lisbon, Benfica did not look good, and Salzburg controlled this entire game. So, they got some work cut out for them. And then, last but not least, Real Sociedad, Inter Milan. This one ended 1-1. This Inter side was much different than the one that smashed AC Milan in the...
Was that even the same team, man?
No, it wasn't. Yeah, they smashed Milan in the Derby della Madonnina on the weekend. But Sociedad looks good this season, man. They dominated this match. Took the lead after a defensive mishap from Bastoni, allowing Brias Mendes to score with ease. And it took until Lautaro Martinez got subbed on to level the match in the dying moments, as David Fritesi played a ball in for him to finish inside the 6-yard box.
Nice low cross.
Yeah.
Went across the box.
Fritesi with a golazo on the weekend, I will say. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but they won 1-0
I have not.
on the weekend. We both picked Inter to win this one. I think a draw was definitely deserved.
That's going to be an interesting group, man.
Mm-hmm.
Group D. Those are all... I mean, I told you Salzburg's no slouch, so those are all good teams.
Yeah. The way that Benfica's playing, they could finish dead last.
They could.
Which would be a shocker. Okay.
And the way Sociedad plays, maybe they get into the Champions League. Like someone predicted. I don't know. We'll see, though.
It's not me. I picked Benfica. That's looking like shit now. All right.
One game in.
Yeah, one game in. One game in. There's a long way to go. Long way to go. All right, match week 6 in the EPL. We started off with the champions, Manchester City. Nottingham Forest. They continued their winning run to start the season. It was 2-0, but it probably should have been much more. But the big headline in this one, City went down to 10 men because Rodri was sent off for putting his hands around the neck of Morgan Gibbs-White.
Bro thought he was the Undertaker for a second, about to deliver a choke slam.
Well, for Mr. Cool, Calm, and Collected, you don't played 68 games for Man City last year, I think it was. Where did that come from?
You don't see that for him. That's very out of character, it seems like, for Rodri, but...
Yeah. And to make things worse for Manchester City, he is now suspended for 3 games. The last one against Arsenal at the Emirates on October 8th. Without De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, and Rodri against Arsenal.
You can say Gundogan and Mahrez, too, who also left. Having said that, Man City are perfect. Arsenal are not.
Yeah, and Arsenal desperately need the 3 points.
So. And Arsenal don't... I mean, I'll be honest, they don't look as good this year as they did last year.
Arsenal don't look like they've gotten out of second gear all season.
Neither has this Man City team.
I know, which is the scary part. So, we both picked City, and they pulled that one out. Next up, Crystal Palace against Fulham. This London derby goes down as a goalless draw at Selhurst Park in a game that lacked quality finishing and a cutting edge in front of goal. And I'll be completely honest, it was boring.
Snooze fest, huh?
Yeah, very. You picked a draw in this one. Know something. Next up, Luton Town against Wolves. Luton forced to wait for their first ever EPL victory at Kenworth Road as they draw against a struggling Wolves side.
This game, man. I thought Luton looked decent. And then there was the red card, which... It was like 2 players kind of got caught on... It was a weird one. Did you see it?
Mm-mm.
So there were 2 players kind of tangled up on the ground. One guy went to get up, and the player on the ground kind of pinched his legs together to stop the player from getting up. And so that pissed him off, and so he turned and kind of kicked at him while they're laying on the ground.
Oh, Jesus.
Straight right. At first you can see it looks like he punches him. Like he just kind of hits him with his hand, and then he doesn't let go, so he kicks him with his other foot. So guess what he got? A straight red card.
Straight red card. Yeah.
But Wolves actually scored first on this one. It was like a hopeful ball up to Pedro Neto, and he just takes care of the rest. Poor defending by Luton, and Wolves are up 1-0 until a PK saved Luton.
Yeah. This one ending in a 1-1 draw.
You knew something there, didn't you?
Yeah, well, it starts a theme. Okay. Brentford and Everton.
Result. Surprise result.
I don't think anybody expected this result, even Everton fans, because they put in a composed and much-needed performance to get their first win of the season and their first 3 goals of the season. And to top it all off for Toffees fans, Dominic Calvert-Lewin finally scored after his lengthy absence from injury. I have no idea how long it's been since he scored. It's definitely been a long time.
Yeah.
Brentford
looked good, man.
Brentford looked bad and Everton looked good in this one. I thought it would be the other way around. So did you. But
yeah.
Props. Can Everton sustain this for the rest of the season?
If they can, they're probably looking at a mid-table finish.
Yeah.
Lower mid-table, I would say.
They can do that for half of the season. They're safe.
Check this out. Everton has scored now as many goals as Chelsea.
Well, we're going to get into that in just a second. And I'm very excited to talk about it. All right, but first, we got Burnley against lowly Manchester United. And I'm surprised to say that, but you called me crazy for predicting them to get 7th this season. Manchester United get away with another win as they get dominated by Burnley, only to have a moment of brilliance by Sergio Reguilon to Bruno, who volleyed it home, and what a sweet volley it was.
World class, man.
Yeah, well, that's why they signed him, right?
World class goal by Bruno. I mean, honestly, that could be a goal of the season contender right there, the way he caught that.
Definitely could be.
That was a sweet goal.
So sweet. He hit that so perfectly. I mean, an inch the other way, and that's off the post. Or keeper saves it. But, I mean, imagine if they didn't win this game, even if they drew it.
Oh, so they were on 3 losses on the bounce. 3-3. What was it? They've passed 3 games.
3-1.
They've conceded 3 goals, something like that.
I think 3-1 was their last 3 score lines, yeah, before this game.
Oh, well, no, because it was 4-3 at Bayern.
But 3-1 against Brighton and 3-1 against Arsenal.
And so they needed this win, man. This was a much needed win that might take a little pressure off of them, but probably not a lot of pressure. I mean, who they play in this weekend? They play Crystal Palace.
Yeah, their bugaboo team.
I wouldn't say maybe at Selhurst Park, yeah. But they're not at Selhurst Park
last season, and they beat them.
Did they?
Selhurst Park. So
no, they drew at Selhurst Park.
Okay, well then they took 4 points from United either way. Pretty sure.
I remember it was a Michael Elise free kick.
Yeah, and it was what a thing of beauty that was.
And so I think that could be a tough game. I think Crystal Palace will be tougher than Burnley.
Oh yeah, and especially because I think Michael Elise might be back for that game. Imagine that return.
Could be, but imagine if they had lost this game. What would that pressure have been like then?
Well, let's see. 3 points less. They'd be sitting on 6 points. They would be tied with Brentford for 13th. 1 spot ahead of Chelsea.
So, yeah.
And we all know, well, speaking of Chelsea played
Aston
Villa.
You heard all the pundits? How all the pundits were saying, like, oh, you can't, these teams won't be as bad as last year. Man United will be better. Liverpool, Chelsea.
Well, Liverpool is definitely better.
Statistically, they all won't be better. That just doesn't happen.
Liverpool is. The other two.
Liverpool is. Chelsea's the same.
Chelsea's exactly the same.
Slightly worse. Actually, they're slightly worse, I think.
Yeah. They got 2 draws and a win, and they had 1 win after Graham Potter got fired last season.
I think I heard on something that this was their worst start in 8 years or something like that. Chelsea.
Yep.
So let's get into their game.
A lot of people forget that before Roman Abramovich, Chelsea was a mid-table side.
They were.
Just saying. So, Chelsea and Aston Villa. Villa snatched a late victory as Ollie Watkins scored the game's only goal, and 10-man Chelsea slumped to an even lower low, losing at home yet again.
Honestly, it's the way they're playing.
Right? It's like nobody on the field knows what they're doing or where they're supposed to be.
No progression. At least, I mean, we've said this is going to be a project that takes 2 years, 3 years, whatever, whatever our prediction was, because they just basically went and bought all this young, unproven talent and are hoping they get better. Honestly, it's now what we're hoping for. If you're a Chelsea fan, I don't know if it's going to get better.
Not anytime soon. I will say that. I guess we'll get into their next 10 games.
Well, I mean, because you look at for example, we talked about Roman Abramovich. That whole model was buy good quality players, win trophies, have a slump, buy new high quality players, win trophies, have a slump. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how it seemed to go under Abramovich. And so they were used to winning those trophies, every other year or so. But
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's going to be a rough couple years, last year and this year.
I think this year, like, the less competitions they're in, probably the better for them. No disappointment. But their next 10 games, they play Brighton tomorrow in the Carabao Cup. Then Fulham, Burnley, Arsenal, Brentford, Spurs, City, Newcastle, Brighton, Man United. How many points do you think they get from those games?
7.
You're gonna give them that high, huh?
Yeah.
I was gonna go with maybe 3 and like 3 draws. No wins because they can't score. Maybe they keep Burnley out of the net. Fulham can be dangerous, and Chelsea away from home is even worse than at home.
It's just crazy because they looked so good preseason in that Premier League summer series they played in the U.S.
What was everybody else just that bad?
Apparently, I mean, we've said you can't really look at preseason too much, and this is why. This Chelsea team looked good, and now they suck.
The one thing I will say about Chelsea's preseason, they did have Christopher Nkunku healthy.
They did, and he's a big loss. Yeah. But you still had Nico Jackson and Mihajlo Mudryk putting in goals this summer in preseason, and there's a force field over that goal for poor Nico Jackson, man. That guy can't.
I don't.
Nothing.
I saw a video of him dribbling down the field, and they're like the percentage chance that he would make it into the goal, and he's like wide open, and then they make it bigger, and then make it bigger, and then make it bigger.
I saw that.
And it's like 450% chance he'll score, and he still missed it.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's so bad. Like,
I think you sent that to me, if I'm being honest.
Probably, because I laughed hysterically at it. Next question, and probably the more important one. Who gets fired first? Eric Ten Hag or Mauricio Pochettino?
Oh. I don't think either one should get fired. I do think Ten Hag is a good coach.
Yeah.
I think Poch needs more time. I mean, he's had 6 games.
You want my opinion?
Are you going to say Poch?
No. I'm going to say Ten Hag. You know why?
Why?
Because of all the bust-ups he's had with his players. It seems to happen every 3 to 6 months or so. You have Cristiano Ronaldo. Now you have Jadon Sancho. Granted, neither one of their attitudes is great. But he comes out.
That's why I think you can't blame him.
But he comes out in public and doesn't handle them the correct way.
How? Maybe. Well, obviously we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. But for a manager to do what he did to Sancho, both of us were against. He shouldn't have said something like that in public. Mm. Maybe he's tried everything and trying this as a last resort. I don't know.
I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, and quite frankly, I really don't care. I just think Eric Ten Hag and the money he spent, Todd Bowley's going to back Pochettino because this is a project and he knows it. The fans, I think at this point, probably accept it.
But I don't know, man. There was some pretty harsh boos at the end of that game.
Well, yeah, I would too, right? Like, you accept it that it's a project, but how badly they're playing, you could never accept it.
That's the part, like I said, that gets me. It's the way they're playing. There's no progression. Like, you can lose a game, but if you see some positives out of that game, then, you can kind of take it with a grain of salt. But to lose the way they are, man, it doesn't look good.
Yeah. I don't know. I only have like bad stats for Pochettino and Chelsea. I don't have anything good to say about Ten Hag, so my bet is going to be on Ten Hag just because of the money spent and the expectations.
I think just because of how long they've been at each club, if I had to pick one, I'd probably say Ten Hag as well. Because Poch has only been there 6 games, Ten Hag's. But I mean, you look at the season he had last year, man. I mean, they won a trophy, got into Champions League.
Mm-hmm. I think with the improvement of Tottenham, the improvement of West Ham, Newcastle is still there. You got the improvement of Aston Villa. We know Arsenal and Liverpool are going to be up there towards the end of the season. I mean, and Brighton. I mean, they're probably going to be up there too, barring.
That's probably who Man United go for is De Zerbi.
Yeah. With that's 9 teams. 8 teams. So they're the 9.
I know. You think of a club of their stature, though, they should be beating Brighton's, Villa's, Tottenham's, Newcastle's.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. But let's finish talking about Chelsea and how bad they really have been. Because since firing Thomas Tuchel, which, to be honest, still makes absolutely no sense, they've picked up 36 points from 39 games under 4 managers. Since that point, Erling Haaland has scored more goals than Chelsea Football Club. So my
Guess who has more goals this season?
Erling Haaland, which is my last question, is who's going to score more goals this season, Erling Haaland or Chelsea? There's a flip of a coin at this point. 50-50
my bet would be on Erling Haaland.
The way if Chelsea doesn't start improving, I'm going to agree with you.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And Haaland hasn't even been playing well. And he's still leading the scoring charts. So, has he got 8 now?
I think so, 8 and 6, yeah. But you called Villa to win that.
I did. Because Chelsea's that bad.
I think my direct quote was, Chelsea can't get any worse, can they?
Well, maybe they're just out to prove you wrong.
They are.
We both picked them for our top 4. And God, is that looking awful now.
Terrible.
I mean, we call ourselves pundits. A real kick up the backside is what that is. All right, speaking of kicks up the backside, Brighton played Bournemouth, and they beat them 3-1 off of super sub Kiro Matoma, who bags a second half brace to give the Seagulls all 3 points, keeping them in 3rd place.
Yeah, scored his goal 17 seconds into the second half.
Yeah, and what I'm most impressed about is his chemistry with Ansu Fati, because they both came on at the same time, and they were just pinging the ball back and forth before his goal in 17 seconds.
I think it's honestly more impressive his chemistry with Estupiñán.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, if those 3 can be on the field at the same time and somehow figure that out with that chemistry, Brighton are going to be chasing Manchester City for most goals scored this season.
They are. And
they're ahead right now, by the way.
I think they have 16 goals scored?
18.
18, okay.
City has 16. Yeah.
And honestly, like watching them, one of my new favorite players for that team, he's been playing so good, man, is Billy Gilmore in that midfield.
Oh, yeah. He's been on fire.
He looks real good. One to keep an eye on.
Yet another player to leave Chelsea and reignite his career. Speaking of players who are going to need to reignite their career, Sheffield United against Newcastle. Newcastle become the first Premier League team in history to have 8 individuals score in one game as they absolutely annihilate Sheffield United 8-0.
8-0.
8-0. I don't know if Newcastle were that good or Sheffield United were that bad.
I mean, it looked like a training match, if I'm being honest.
100%.
But I do have a couple beef with a couple of these goals.
Okay, let's hear it.
The first one. Anthony Gordon kind of cut back. Like, I know VAR looked at it. Did the ball go out of bounds? Did it not go out of bounds? It didn't go out of bounds. But when the ball stayed in and it bounced, it hit his hand. And then he crossed it.
Yeah, and that cross led to a goal, which would mean a
it
handball led to a direct scoring opportunity, which
obviously it was incidental. His arm was by his side, but when a ball hits your hand and leads to a goal, I don't know.
Yeah, the rule is that's a handball.
So I thought that was weak.
That is not gray area. That is black and white.
And then for me, the third goal, man, I did not even think was a foul, let alone a yellow card. So it was a foul, led to a free kick, and I think it was Sven Botman got on the end of that free kick to score. To me, this was two players coming together hard for the ball.
Mm-hmm.
The Sheffield United player caught the ball, he won it, he cleared it, and then they collided. And of course, the Newcastle player went over, played injured, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't think it was a foul. I think it's two players going hard for the ball. One went in stronger than the other.
Yeah.
I thought that was weak as well. But it's also, I'm not trying to take nothing away from Newcastle because they played Sheffield off the park.
Even without those 3 goals, it's still 5-0. So.
Well, it's only 2 goals I have issue with. Oh, only 2. So it'd still be, 6.
6. Yeah. Yeah, that's the Newcastle squad we've been waiting to see all season. And unfortunately,
notice Tonali did not start.
He did not. He was on the bench. I was kind of shocked by that, but maybe that's because he played all 90 minutes against Milan midweek in a very emotional game.
Did he play? I thought he came off.
I think he played. Maybe he got a knock and came off. Maybe that's why. I don't know.
I think Sean Longstaff in that midfield, though, helps them out quite a bit.
Yeah. And, with some of the depth they have and those players in their midfield positions obviously against the newly promoted teams, they're going to be able to rest all their key players because all the promoted teams are bad.
Dude, really I wanted to ask you that.
Yeah.
All 3 of them
are
in last place. So you got Sheffield, Burnley, Luton.
Yeah.
All of them are in last, 20th, 19th, 18th.
Yeah. Luton's in 18th because of goal difference, but yeah, they all are bad.
They're all sitting with 1 point.
Yeah.
And so I got a question. So is it teams coming from the championship? Is that level just so dispersed between Premier League and championship? Are they unlucky?
Honestly, I think a lot of it, well, in Burnley's case, I think it's style of play. Because in the championship, you can get away with dominating possession, playing like a Manchester City, because Vincent Kompany, that's his DNA at this point. And you can't get away with that in the Premier League because everybody's bigger, faster, stronger, better. And I think they still want to play like that, but they have no alternative. And that's what's getting them into trouble. Luton Town, to be honest with you, I'm surprised they even made it into the Premier League. I think whoever won that match was doomed to be this bad. I think they'll probably steal some points from some teams at home, but they really haven't played a lot of games at home. So I think that's their ultimate downfall. And Sheffield United, honestly, they should be better than they are, but you sell your 2 best players and you're going to get bit in the ass for it. So they didn't replace them.
Yeah, and so I guess I'll give you my thoughts. So yeah, Luton, Sheffield, they don't look good. I will say Burnley have had a tough opening schedule, playing Man City, Villa,
their next
Tottenham.
Game is the Luton game that got rescheduled.
Yeah, and then they did drop Forest. That's their 1 point. They played United. And then they got a tough one again up against Newcastle. And then they go to Luton. So I would say it's a tough schedule, and you're correct about the way they play. I don't think they're going to change that. And I do think against some of these lower teams, they'll get results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think.
But yeah, any of that top of the table, top half of the table, if I'm being honest, I don't see them getting lots of points with that style of play.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at the teams in the bottom half of the table too, Brentford is going to give them problems if they haven't already. Fulham, they could be a game where they do well. But
I think Bournemouth, Wolves, maybe Everton, the Lutons, the Sheffields.
Chelsea,
yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
Chelsea.
Try to keep a straight face. I can't. Yeah, I think you're onto something there. It'll just be interesting to see how the teams around them do. Because, I mean, Wolves are really bad this season. Everton, they've had one good game. And then they drew Luton. So, I don't know. I just know that there's going to be a gulf in class and points from pretty much, I think, 13 down.
13 down, huh? Yeah.
13 up will be much better than 14 and down.
I would say 15, 14, yeah, somewhere in there.
So, it's still going to be a battle. I think someone will get two teams will probably get relegated pretty early.
Yeah. I know that was a bold prediction. Honestly, I picked it as a bold prediction because I didn't know what else to say, but I picked Luton to survive, so every time I'm rooting for him, man.
And you picked Everton to go down? No, Wolves to go down.
Wolves
to go down. And then Sheffield and Burnley, yes?
No, Sheffield and Bournemouth.
Well, I mean, that still could happen. I'm not even going to get into what I picked because it is no longer anywhere near right. So, except for Luton and Sheffield going down.
Well, that's half of it, over half of it right there.
Yeah, well, I picked Burnley to finish. So, yeah. So. Anyways, our Fab 5 games to watch. And man, were there some good ones. We'll start with the Madrid derby. Atletico against Real. Man, did I think this game was going to be close.
Closer, at least.
It was not close. Yeah, that too. Atletico beating Real Madrid 3-1, and it probably could have been more, and they dominated this match.
They came to play, man, Atletico.
Which, I just want to address the monkey or elephant in the room right now. How did they lose to Valencia last weekend 3-0, and then win this game 3-1? I know Valencia.
Have you ever heard that saying where you play down to your opponent?
But 3-0 is like,
or you play up to your opponent?
Way worse than your opponent. Like, way worse. I don't know. But Alvaro Morata had a game. He put Atleti ahead in the 4th minute after a wonderful header past Kepa. Antoine Griezmann didn't want to be outdone, getting his name on the score sheet with a header of his own in the 10th minute off a Saul corner. Real got one back through a wonderful goal by Toni Kroos.
Golazo by Toni Kroos, man.
What a touch to set himself up for that volley on the edge of the box.
Beauty.
Sending the defenders going the other way and just burying a laser beam. Laser beam in the bottom corner. And then Real's defensive frailties were there for all to see as Atleti's third, with Morata getting his brace. And it was a wonderful header after a fantastic cross. But man, Real Madrid really need new outside backs.
They need a left back for sure.
Yes.
Fran Garcia, I think he got done in
perhaps a striker.
Even Alaba, man. Alaba did not have the best game either.
I mean, Morata made him look silly, especially for that first goal. It jumped right over it.
And so, yeah, that defense, maybe it doesn't help. No Thibaut Courtois back there.
I mean, on his day, Kepa's no slouch. But I don't think Courtois would have done much with those 3 goals.
You never know with him commanding his box. Could have came out.
Who knows?
Talking to defenders.
Organizing a bit better. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Real Madrid's defense is not as good as it was last season. I know Militao's out right now.
Yep. Well, I'm pretty sure he did his ACL.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a big loss for them. But, I mean, you think of their center backs in Rudiger and Alaba. You would expect them to be much better defensively.
You would think.
Yeah. One would think. I don't know. Yeah, you picked Real to win. I picked a draw, and it was anything but. And then we go to the Clásica. Spelled differently, yes. Ajax against Feyenoord. And man, was this one entertaining. No, not a dull moment in this entire game. So, let's run through the sequence of events.
Okay.
Feyenoord scored twice through Santiago Jimenez inside of the first 20 minutes. And then Ajax fans throw flares on the field. So they suspend play, take the flares off the field. And just for all of you listening, in Holland, there is a very strict no throwing anything on the field, 3 strikes, you're out policy. So they suspended play to arrest the person who threw the flares on the field, or people. So they all got arrested, taken out of the stadium. And then Igor Pajau made it 3 in the 38th minute. And Ajax Ultras threw more flares onto the field. So that's strike 2. So they come back on, play the extra 7 minutes, go into the locker room, come back out, 7 minutes in, throw more flares onto the field. And then the game got abandoned. But what gets worse is the amount of smoke and flares in the stands after this. It looked like not even a bonfire, but like a forest fire. Like, you could not see any of the fans on the entire side of the stadium. It was insane.
Wild, man. That's wild.
But it's probably a good thing that it happened, because it would have only got worse for Ajax, because they are terrible this season.
They are not doing good. Yeah, they're sitting in 14th place in the Eredivisie, and Feyenoord's sitting up there in 4th.
Yeah. Quote from Marco van Basten, though, who I believe coaches Ajax, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I think so. Anyways.
I can look real quick.
He said that they should just stop playing football in the Netherlands because fan violence will just keep happening. This is one of the greats of Dutch football, and he's saying they should just stop playing football in Holland.
He's a former manager of Ajax.
So, yeah. That's pretty damning, I would say.
Former player.
Okay. He's a Dutch great, nonetheless.
Oh, he was a manager as well, yeah.
Okay. I just thought it was nuts that of all the players in the world, someone as great as him would say that. Like, it says something. Don't go to Holland to watch games. Especially if you're an international fan. Okay. To Le Derby. PSG and Marseille. I wish I could say that this game was close.
Me too.
Not. PSG, though, back to their attacking best, as they dominated a haphazard Marseille squad. And I just want to talk about the first goal, because corner of the box, Achraf Hakimi starts it off with style in the 8th minute. And yes,
what a free kick.
Holy cow. He bent that in inch perfect. It looked like Messi, not Hakimi.
And just the power he got on it, too. Kicking it, because he kicked it with the inside of his foot.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of power he got, man, was insane.
I didn't even think the keeper moved. It was nuts.
Tried.
Yeah. All right. And then Randall Colomwani started to get on the score sheet for PSG, as he showed some great timing in the second. First for the club, Hakimi's shot hit the post. Fortunately, it hit Pau Lopez in the back.
I saw, yeah. Then Colomwani was there to tap it in.
Poacher's finish. Yeah, tapped it in. But good for him. First goal for PSG. And probably his best game for them so far. The next goal would be Ousmane Dembele. Put the ball on a platter. Goncalo Ramos with a wonderful header to put them ahead in the fourth. Well, his first goal for the club, putting them further ahead in the 47th minute. And then I just want to talk about this last goal for PSG. I don't know if you saw it, but Colomwani ran about 75 yards past his defender and then crossed it to Goncalo Ramos, who just tapped it in. But holy crap.
It was a great run. Fantastic, yeah.
And the only issue for PSG in this one was Mbappe did come off injured.
Yeah, it was pretty early in this game. About the 30th minute he came off. But they brought on Goncalo Ramos, and he scored 2 goals. So
you picked PSG, and somehow I picked a draw. You know, sometimes I get a lot right, and sometimes I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? And this is one of them.
That was one of them?
Yeah, very much one of them. Like, come on. Did I even look at what Marseille's been doing this season? No, I did not, and I should have.
They're not doing bad.
No, but PSG
second.
Also very good this season, especially going forward.
It's France, so I mean, how do you...
PSG show
up
for
PSG?
Those games, I guess. I don't know. Okay, back to the Premier League. We had Liverpool and West Ham, and Liverpool run rampant in the second half to run away with 3 points, winning 3-1.
I'm going to say it, man. Joe Gomez at right back makes them look a little bit more solid defensively.
Just saying. I would say what I've been saying all season. Why don't they just put Trent in the midfield?
Because they got McAllister and
Sabotsoy
and who else played? Who else played in that game?
I'm just saying, you put those three in the midfield, you're going to create goals from everywhere.
Curtis Jones, that's who it was. That was going to drive me nuts.
Yeah. And I mean, we can agree that Trent is much better than Curtis Jones.
Much better passer of the ball, that's for sure. I just don't get, man, do you think McAllister stays in that number 6 role all season?
No. They got to move him up to that number 10 the way he's been pinging the ball around. Especially,
or number 8, something.
Yeah, you got to move him up to the 10. Although I know Sabotsoy, he's less defensively inept.
Why not put Endo back there though? Then isn't that what they bought him for?
Yeah, but then you're going to take out somebody. You know, Trent's healthy. You're just not going to play Trent. You're not going to play McAllister. You're not going to play Sabotsoy.
Well, I think Klopp's going to play Trent at that right back position, so I don't think that matters.
Fair. I'm just saying, you have a good debate there for Joe Gomez to stay at right back.
He looks pretty good defensively, I will say, Liverpool.
Yeah, and he's seems to be less, what's the word I'm looking for? Exposed than he is at center back. So
yes. I mean, obviously he's not going to create like Trent, but when you have Mo Salah, Luis Diaz, Darwin Nunez, Jota, Cody Gakpo all can go up front, man.
They got enough creative talent, and they got a lot of firepower going forward. It's just how
they do
shore up that defense. So I think that's a great debate there. But as far as Liverpool goes, Mo Salah was brought down in the box by Aguerd. Obvious penalty.
Oh yeah, stuck a leg out, caught him.
Yeah, he didn't even argue. He just turned around in disgust.
He just went, damn.
Yeah, damn. And then Mo Salah steps up to convert the penalty, going straight down the middle.
Yep.
And then Jared Bowen continued his hot start to the season as he leveled the match with a wonderfully deft header.
Diving header, man. What a beautiful diving header.
I don't even understand. How do you find the bottom corner from that angle, but also a diving header? Like, that was so perfectly in the bottom corner.
He was... Yeah.
Not to mention, he made Virgil van Dijk look bad getting to that ball before him. He ran a solid 5 yards to get to that ball, and Van Dijk was standing right there.
I love Jared Bowen, man. He's one of my favorite players for West Ham.
He's so fun to watch.
Him and Paqueta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm interested to see how long both of them stay there, but we'll see. Then Alexis McAllister played a peach of a ball over the top to Darwin Nunez, who just
peach of a finish.
Definitely touched it into that corner to finish off a lovely move to give Liverpool the lead again.
I don't know how he scored that, man. He scores that, but not some of these sitters he has. He had a sitter in this game that somehow he hit so far wide. I was like, I was waiting for the net to ripple, and then he shanks it wide. And
you're like, is this Darwin Nunez or Nico Jackson? I can't tell.
Yeah. But then he has that finish. I'm like, okay, Darwin.
Yeah. He reminds me of, the other end of the field, but a player who would miss the easy things but make the miraculous, and Fabian Barthez for Manchester United when he played keeper. Because he would make the most miraculous saves but would miss the easiest saves on earth. Darwin Nunez is the same. Misses sitters, scores absolutely beautiful goals. I don't understand it. I don't get it. Liverpool got their third off corner as Van Dijk headed the ball back across. It bounced around a little bit, and Diogo Jota tapped it in. Fortunate for it to land at his feet, but it did.
A little taparoo.
Mm-hmm. Tap it in. We both picked Liverpool. They came out winners. And then we get to our favorite match of the week. What we wait all season to watch. the North London Derby.
Ooh.
Arsenal and Tottenham. In a match that always turns a bit ugly, 5 players came off injured as Spurs hold on for a hard-fought point.
I would say a deserved point.
I would say so too, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But into the goals, huge deflection off of Romero after a wonderful move by Bukayo Saka gave Arsenal the lead. Only a minute and 49 seconds later, Young Sun Min leveled the match after James Maddison turns Bukayo Saka, making him look absolutely silly.
Yeah, poor defending.
Not only poor defending, but I'm pretty sure he was still doing James Maddison's celebration.
That's what James Maddison said.
Yeah, I think he's right. Romero would be involved in the other Arsenal goal as he was deemed to have handled the ball, denying Ben White an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. Saka stepped up, and I'll be honest, he sent me the wrong way with that penalty kick. I thought he was going left the whole time. He went right down the middle. And Vicario also thought the same thing. Handball for you, pretty obvious. Clear cut. Yeah, I mean, his arm was up here. Should never be.
And the ball would have gone most likely in
the net. There was nobody there to stop that. Yeah. And then after yet another wonderful move by James Maddison and an awful mistake by Jorginho.
Terrible, dude. Terrible. Got caught on the ball. Terrible.
Yeah, James Maddison won the ball from Jorginho, played the ball to Son, and he got the second. Were you impressed by Spurs in their first big test of the season?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for
reference, Bissouma looks like a player.
And
Son's back to his top form.
And Postecoglou's first season as manager of Tottenham has completely transformed them. It took Mikel Arteta 3 years.
It's taken him 6 games.
Yeah.
You know, he has his style of play that he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to stick to it. I mean, you could see in the first half, Arsenal put that press on, and Tottenham did struggle, but they kept at it. Arsenal got a little tired. They had injuries. New players came on. And it worked for them.
And then, I know I said at the beginning of this episode that we would talk about it. Gabriel Jesus is finishing. Arsenal up 1-0.
Should have made it 2.
Wins the ball off of James Maddison and has an opportunity to just literally slot the ball in the net and blazes it over.
I think I heard one of the commentators or someone say if only his finishing was as good as his pressing, he'd have as many goals as Erling Haaland.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Because, I mean, I think you or I would have scored that one.
At least hit the target.
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to blaze it over right over the goalie's
Might
head.
hit it right at the goalie, but
yeah, I don't understand. He's so good on the ball, and his passing is great. His pressing is fantastic. His finishing is awesome.
Yeah, and honestly, the substitutes didn't offer much.
Kai Havertz is he's at this point. I will give him the he's okay.
Thought it was interesting that Eddie Nketiah started.
Do you want to get into that now?
I know Trossard was out injured for this one. Martinelli's obviously out injured. I was hoping a Smith Rowe appearance.
We did. We got like 25 minutes of him. He made a difference, but the players they put in around him, I don't think they helped much. So, Declan Rice coming off at halftime to back spasms didn't help.
Saka limped off.
Came off.
Yeah. Madison came off in this one.
Madison came off.
I think that could be a huge blow for Spurs.
Brendan Johnson in a no contact injury. Apparently he pulled his hamstring.
So he'll be out for a good month.
Yeah. So Declan Rice and Leandro Trossard to miss the Carabao Cup match against Brentford tomorrow. But should be back, and both of them will be back apparently in time for the Manchester City game. So we don't really need to worry about that. They play more.
So interesting lineups from Mikel Arteta. And you want to talk about David Raya getting the start here over Ramsdale?
Yeah, it's third game in a row. I will
see the new number one.
With the way he played in that, especially contender for save of the season, when he had to come all the way back across the goal and saves it on the goal line with a paw, I turned my head and said that's a goal when not even watching to see if he saved it. And then all of a sudden I heard them yelling and I turned around and David Raya somehow saved it. I don't understand.
Both goalkeepers, I would say, played well in this game.
I feel so bad for Ramsdale. It's not like he's really done anything wrong or bad. He was fantastic for Arsenal last season. And, I mean, I guess that's what we get with Arteta. He's that ruthless.
I mean, he said he wants 2 players for each position.
Yeah, and I mean, with the amount of competitions Arsenal in the season, you think, what if someone gets hurt, one of the goalies? Then you have a number one goalie to replace them. I mean, the drop-off from Ramsdale to Matt Turner last season was monumental. And we saw that in the Europa League. And then you have now the drop-off from Raya to Ramsdale. It's pretty much non-existent. So I'll give him credit for that.
Is Ramsdale okay playing second fiddle, getting in these cup games with the Euros around the corner and him fighting for that number one spot?
I believe that Arteta has told him that he's not second fiddle. That there's 2 number ones. And that Raya will play for certain situations and Ramsdale will play for certain situations. However, I feel bad for the guy. David Raya, I'll be honest, I think he's a better goalkeeper. I do. He's better on the ball, although his long balls in the North London Derby were awful. I don't think he completed a single one. But his distribution is pretty good. He's better on the ball than Ramsdale. He scares me less than Ramsdale. But
they're different characters as well.
Yes.
Like, you notice after that save, Raya got right up back to business where, Ramsdale's pumping the air, excited. Yeah. So I don't know if maybe Raya's just a little bit more cool, calm, collected than
he's also
Aaron
older,
Ramsdale.
Isn't he? I think Ramsdale's 24, and I think Raya's 26 or something like that.
Raya is 28.
28, okay. I know Ramsdale's pretty young, so maybe it's just, naivety. Maybe it's, the youthful aspect of it where you just want to celebrate everything.
Ramsdale's 25. So a 3-year difference, but 25, he's not 22.
No, he's not. I'm very interested by it. It's a debate I've heard numerous times everywhere.
It's one to watch.
I hate the fact that everyone's just dismissing it, saying, "How could you do this to Ramsdale? He got Arsenal in the Champions League last season. You're just gonna bench him and start this new guy that you got." I don't think it's that simple. Everybody's thinking more old school way of you have one starting goalie. That is it. You have your number one and your number two. It's that clear cut. I don't think it's that simple. I think Arteta's got a plan. I'm interested to see if it backfires. I think it might. But I think Ramsdale wants to fight for his spot.
I think Ramsdale wants to fight, but
at what point does he say, "I've had enough of this"?
Yeah, or
probably next summer.
Even if the defense too. Like, who do they know who they're going to have back there?
I don't know.
I would assume so. As a coach, you probably train for that the week before.
Yeah.
As who you're going to have in goal and have your defense playing with that goalie. So, you know what they're going to do. Are they going to come out for this cross or are they not? Or, situations like that. But it's an interesting one to keep an eye on. That's for sure.
I will say that if Ramsdale doesn't start against Brentford, there's going to be a problem. It's a Carabao Cup.
Oh, yeah.
Start David Raya for a 4th straight game during that game. I understand it's his old club. Technically current club. Because he's on loan. I think Ramsdale starts to have a thought about it where he's just, I don't know how much longer I can take just getting put out to the, to the wolves, essentially.
Well, it's one to keep an eye on, man, that we will certainly cover as the season progresses.
And I am very, very excited to see it. So before we conclude this episode, I just want to say my winning streak has continued for the third straight week. As I won 20-18 this week, match week 5. I won 12-10, and I only missed 2 games, which is the Bayern Munich and Bayer Leverkusen game, and Burnley and Nottingham Forest. And to be honest with you, a Burnley-Nottingham Forest game should have ended in a draw, like I said, but it did.
Okay.
Or maybe I picked Forest to win, and it ended in a draw.
Well, you had a good slice of humble pie there, man.
I did.
That brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening, for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe. We appreciate it so much. It helps us grow and continue doing this. Of course, check out all the socials, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. We love you guys. Thank you so much. As always, cheers.